Yeah, welcome. Just jump in there. Hopefully I didn't scare you. So, welcome to 2026 on the channel. I'm so glad that you could join me this evening. Bitterly cold. I was just debating whether to keep my jumper on. But this office does get quite warm. So we're going without the jumper. I braved the cold until it warms up. But it's 2026. Hopefully you had a great Christmas and a good New Year. We've had to come back off a week's break, not gone anywhere, but speak to someone earlier in church. The way that Christmas has fallen, it's been nice because it's just fallen in a nice place to have restful days between coming back on the Sunday. Sometimes you can just have Christmas falling. Is it when it's Christmas is on the Saturday and then you got the Sunday after? That isn't good. Or the Friday. But was it Wednesday? I think it was Wednesday or Thursday. I can't remember. I think it was Thursday, wasn't it? It was Thursday. So anyway, so it felt quite nice, but it will change. So that was good. So we're here to catch up, to chat as we go into the new year. I wonder what it holds. I'll give an update as always. What I'll be doing as people join us. But it's so cold. So cold out there, like bitterly cold. I haven't known it like that for a while, but I will go without my jumper. But it is cold in this office. It is old. This rectory, so this where I live is what they call the new rectory, and it's built in 1960, and it costs a fortune to run. It really does. I was just thinking about that because I'm looking at changing over my gas and electricity, and I realised how much we pay a year, and it's probably £1,000 more than we normally would in a more insulated house, and let alone the old rectory next door. But they sold all those off supposedly because vicars couldn't afford to live in the old rectories and keep them warm, and we're living in one room, and now we're in the same situation today. So in the new rectories, so they'll probably be selling the new rectories off to get a new rectory that's more energy efficient and insulated, because we cannot afford to heat this. We do heat it. We just have to go into our savings to afford to heat it. What a situation to be in. Anyway, so yeah, we went down to a place. We went down to Kent for something on Friday, and there was a bit of snow down there. We haven't had snow where we are. My daughter is desperate for snow, but we haven't had snow. So have you had snow? That's the question. Just looking. Yes, we've had snow, and it's not gotten above 0 degrees all day. Wow, that's it's just bitterly cold. See, and then I had to see. So because I did the 8 o'clock this morning, I go over my shirt. Obviously, I need to put my robes on there, but I just had a shower because I get obviously just before the service. My hair's all wet, so I can't put a jumper on now, so I just mess up the hair, and so I have to walk over without a jumper for vanity. Is that vanity or is that just practicality? Because it's all about the hair. In my curacy church, this is funny. When I was a curate, same thing. What I used to do, I put product in my hair. Of course, I put product in my hair. I kind of got thin hair. This is good theological stuff here, but this is the practical life of a vicar. I put product in my hair, and it makes my hair go really hard, right? So I'd go to the service, and the service be at 9:30, and I got this product in my hair. And if I'm not doing anything, say if I was preaching, I would just sit there and do this. And what I was doing is breaking up that product so it would look more natural instead of being like slick back. And the rector's wife, my training incumbent's wife, kept saying that I was really vain, and I was getting my hair ready all the time, that I was always doing this with my hair. And I was like, no, I'm not getting it ready, I'm just like breaking it up. And she said, no, you got a ministry of the hair, Dad. People are coming because of ministry of the hair. And that joke stuck. So every time I'm like this, so there's a ministry of the hair. That's what I have. So I have to make sure that my hair looks always good. So yeah, so we're getting to the chat. and we'll catch up to see what's happening. And there, I caught myself shaving yesterday. Always catch myself shaving in the same place. It's a nightmare. It's only a little cut, but I'll get it every so often, and it'll come back, the forever cut. So, Francis, rectories. I worked for a diocesan office back in the 1960s. The committee then, the committee which then was responsible for parsonages house upkeep was the Dilapidations Board. They have changed the name since. Yeah, I can imagine. Like, I've heard horror stories of more not the vicars or the rectors, but the kids. You know, their memories of growing up in this old drafty house, which they were massive, and the stipend, the salary for vicars, only changed in the 90s. They were only getting like, what was it, 14 grand a year or something? It was well below average, and so they couldn't afford to keep up. But they did sell them off too cheap. Absolutely, they sold off all these beautiful buildings really cheap. But but the new ones have to be big because they like got offices. They have, you know, when you get into it, they got rules that you have to have an office that is separate to a family room and a separate entrance where possible. Or it might be, you know, you've got a hallway and it's immediately the office, so you can keep the family away from the traffic if there's a lot of traffic. Which is quite right, and that's, you know, developed over time. But that footprint of having an office, a dining room, a living room, a kitchen it's always a 4 or 5 bedroom house, and so that you always naturally got into bigger houses. This one, it's got high ceilings and parquet flooring, which is very beautiful but cold. But saying that, in the summer, if it's a really hot summer, this place is very cool. It's very, you know, it's really lovely to walk from the heat into. So, you know, you can't complain. But I get the dilapidations board. Lee, Wisconsin. Rev Dan, would you be able to serve as a leader for the CV visitors for the Episcopal Church's 2027 General Convention? Just as an idea of mine, not an official offer. I don't know. I would have to look. Not official answer. Just a poor one. I would have to look at that. That's a technical question. I'm doing it now, but maybe I won't get back. Contact me. Send me an email, and then we can see, and I'll see what it is all about. David Dan, you might have just said, but where in the country are you? I'm in country, yeah. Chalfont St Giles, so that's near Amersham, Gerrard's Cross, Beaconsfield. I don't know what junction Beaconsfield is. I've forgotten. It's bad, isn't it? I've been here nearly 4 years. I think I moved 4 years ago this week, and I never really learned what junction Beaconsfield is. Is it 2? Junction 2? So yeah. It's where we got the M25 and the M40. We're kind of in a little, just above a little triangle where they converge. So Michael Holland says it's snowy Cheshire. It is snowing up north. I can only imagine it is. Someone was saying the other day, oh, that was it. New Year's Eve, my friend is Scottish. He said Aberdeen is just. There's a lot of snow. It's like cut off in a sense. So, well, that's hardy, isn't it? I couldn't. Oh, maybe I'm just too southern. Oh, it'd be so cold all the time. Saul Panzer Games. It was snow here that turned to ice and hasn't been warm enough to melt that for days now. The pavements are interesting still. Yeah, I found that when I went to Amersham, went to Tesco last night. And Tesco car park was a bit of a nice rink, which I wasn't expecting. And so, but I can only, and that was only in parts, which is probably worse, to be honest, in some ways, because you walk along confidently and then you hit a piece of ice rather than just knowing it's all ice. So, yeah. Such a small island, but such different weather. That's where we went on to Kent. We went to do something in, what did you say, North Kent? I don't know where. Anyway, And they said just that these areas that you get microclimates, that they're just really unique. When I was in Princess Risbury, in my curacy, that had like a little microclimate, because they did the Sunday football or Saturday football, and on these playing fields right next to the church, and it was just also always so cold. It always felt so cold up there. And I know football pitches are exposed, but people saying, "Oh no, it's like it's got this microclimate, and it's really cold here." But when you get off, it's not even that far. It goes back to normal. It's very strange. Mr. Baker, good day, New Year, Cobber. Good day to you. Good day, good day, good happy New Year. Good happy New Year. That's Lester. Dan, I'm thinking of buying a couple of heated GLAs for my wife and me. My wife is skeptical, but I'm willing to give it a try. I mean, like anything to try. GLAs are good. So I used to work in the outdoor industry, a place called Cotswold Outdoor, and so GLAs, GLAs were good. As a layering system, I suppose, because your arms are always, but anything heated. I would get something for my bike like that. A lot of people use now heated stuff for their motorbike because it's so cold. I mean, I ride my bike in winter, not as much, only if I need to. I'll say that. If it's a good day, I'll go, but it's so cold. But whenever I see these people on their motorbikes in the winter, you got to tip your hat to them, especially if they're going a long way. Oh, I am frozen. Last time, I think I went to Oxford for something. It's about 45 minutes away. And I had to have a shower when I got back because I was so cold. Like the inside was so frozen. So, yeah. But there we are. So we talked about the snow. We talked about the cold. We're back into the swing of things this Christmas. Oh, so that was it. I asked if there was an uplift, that you saw an uplift this Christmas in services. I have to go onto the channel to see what people have said in response. We saw an uplift in Advent. Christmas Day was about the same, and we saw a bit an uplift. But I think we saw a bigger uplift the year before. So it was more of a leveling out, as it were. But we definitely saw more people come. But I said in my sermon today, actually the big test is not really December, Advent and Christmas. It's January, when people come back, whether they come back, from the invitation. So I asked 6 days ago, did you see an uplift in people coming to your Christmas services? 386 people voted. 61% said yes, 18% no, and 22% about the same percent last year, which is interesting. Well, that's the massive uplift. I suppose the drilling down part is, which denomination are you? I do wonder whether the Church of England suffered, but I really do think it is. It's great having these people, and we can't get a bit cynical. Again, I was speaking about this, about those people who come and then we don't see them again, because many people choose not to come. At least these people come and then we got the opportunity to engage with them. But the key, I think, is people coming. So we had this daughter and this mum come to our morning service, who we saw over Christmas, and we did message church this afternoon. And I knew it wasn't busy because it's the first week back, but we wanted to put it on because we wanted to invite people over the Christmas. And then we had this lady and her son come. And so, Jesus did leave the 99 for the one. So we got to celebrate that to do these service, we've got new people coming. So that's the celebration. Will people come? So maybe that's my question this week. That's probably what I'll do. Have you seen people who come over Advent and Christmas come to your January services? Lee Wisconsin, Rev Dan, unrelated question. Are you a Northern English man or a Southern English man? I'm a Southern English pansy. A fair weather as I get older. I'm Southern English. I'm from Herefordshire. So, you know, in a small, come from a small place called Bromyard in Herefordshire. So in the back of beyond, we always used to say it was like 20 years behind everything else. And so they'll be getting the internet just about now. So, that's where I'm originally from. Matt Hillsden, I'm taking the news that our church has a shortlist of 5 for a new vicar. Wow, a shortlist of 5. So they're having 5 for interview. That's a busy day. It can be done. When I came here, there was 3. They were going to have 4, but they said no, 4's too many. So they had 3. Interview days are so busy, being on this side and the other side. And when I was in my sending church in Bicester, I purposely got not on the interview panel because I knew I was leaving and I thought that would be unfair, but I got on the team to help. I said I really want to be on the team to help because it gives me an insight. I knew that one day I'll be going through the process. And so it was interesting to see that side of it as well, just being a helper. So having 5 shortlisted, I'm assuming it's 5 for interview. So good luck with that. Matt Hillsden, I'm taking that as good news for the health of the Church of England. Yeah. And I don't want to be cynical. It depends where it is. Like, you got some parishes, and let's go the north-south divide as well. That they're just desperate for people, and if they're a nice place, you'll get more people. You don't see jobs, interestingly, like for the South Coast and things like that. They tend to have people who stay there quite long. I got told where I am in Chalfont St Giles that this is a plum job, meaning that it's a really lovely job. You know, it's a nice place to live and things. And it's not supposed to be about that, is it? It's supposed to be about where you're called. So you could factor in, do you have 5 people shortlisted for interview because where you live is lovely? Now, if you tell me that you're in the one of the worst estates in Manchester, I'll be like, wow, that's just amazing. It'd be interesting. Tell us where you are. Robert Wright, vicar of a backstreet Anglo-Catholic church. We saw an uplift with a particular good mass for Epiphany today with 3 young lads as their magi. That's cool. You know, and I think just on a straw poll, most people have seen, the majority have seen something of an uplift, even if it's not big. My worry was, and that's good to hear, Robert, because the Church of England took a battering in the news just before Christmas. And people will always go to the local church. I get that. And they don't read the news as we do or know. I get that. But could it have been, because the profile was slightly raised with the whole Tommy Robinson carol service, and the Church of England weighed in on that. That raised the profile and brought the Church of England to a lot of people's attention. And so that's part of the interest in asking the question. So Lester Halsam, I read a lesson at midnight mass at the Roman Catholic Church I go to, and today there was a reading from the Chirac. It threw me a little because I had never heard of him. Lol. How was your midnight mass? As well, we must have had a bumper year last year. We had 90 at this midnight mass. We had 66, which was still an uplift from previous years. But last year must have been really good. But the majority of people, of those 66, I would probably say that 60 were visitors and not regulars. Matt Hilston, definitely an uplift in our church since before Christmas, but definitely over the past month the numbers are going up, and that's good. Mr. Baker, good attendance is ours, but similar to last year. Bob Matt, not too far from me. I'm near Worcester. Oh, right, okay, yeah. I know Worcester well, an old stomping ground. I like Worcester a lot. Michael Home, we're tough up north. I know there's a north-south divide, but now I'm getting old in it. You are. You are. Especially when the cold comes, you know. Matt Helston, semi-rural Wiltshire market town. Yeah, that could explain it. Probably lovely and a lovely house. You know, I wonder if you could scan the eyes of where vicars look at parish profiles, the profile you get to look at what the job is all about. How many look quite quickly at the rectory or the vicarage. And it shouldn't be about the house, but you are going to live in that place. And it's the practicality for a family as well. And it's awful because it shouldn't be about the house, but the house is important as well. So yeah, so being in a semi-rural Wiltshire market town, having 5, that's good. TP Sirik was a bullfrog, or maybe that was Jeremiah. Matt, go through this. Definitely plum area. There you go. That would answer a lot. It's still good for the health of the church. It's still good that people are, and you get in. I know I was told that 11 people applied for my role. So, you know, and they shortlisted down to 3. Is that the shortlisting? Yeah, you shortlisted, invite to interview. Or was shortlisting is short now? I've got the process now. Is it shortlisting and then that's who goes to interview, those who are shortlisted, or do you shortlist and then narrow it down to interview? It might be. I've forgotten. Means you could get a good person. It's better to have 5 going to interview. Be busy. I don't think they'll get 5 to interview. Sunshine Lady, soon Lent would be here, starting with Ash Wednesday and Lent. How should we fast and prepare for Lent? That says, I mean, I said I went to Tesco earlier. I went to Tesco and they did have Easter eggs out. That was yesterday. It's like a Lent just after Christmas. One thing that I say about Lent is this, to challenge myself and other people. It's easy to say I'm giving up chocolate, I'm giving up alcohol, I'm giving up this and I'm giving up that. And that's fine. That's not a bad thing, right? It's not a bad thing. It's a discipline thing to do that. What I say with Lent, give up the sin that you do, that God knows about, that you wouldn't want anyone else to know about, or if you have one, and people will, or the thing that maybe people do because it's part of your personality trait, the way that you gossip or speak about people, whatever it is. It's something that is, you know, is bad. You're kind of ashamed of it, or you hide it from other people. And if other people knew, you would be devastated. But we forget that God knows. Take that and give it up. And say, God, over this period, at the end of these 40 days, 46 days, including the Sundays, I never want to come back to that, or I want that to change. I want you to take that away. But I need your help. And that's what Lent is about, really. It's about coming closer to God and relying on God. So I'd say, like, in the preparation for Lent, is to think about that. And it might be a bit of trepidation because, like, this is something that is a hidden sin. But, well, sorry, this Coke is really gassy. Keeps repeating, repeating, as they say, which is quite funny. That's what I say. Spend this time thinking about that thing and preparing for that, and praying that by the end of Lent, that you'll never go back to that trait or sin again. As for fasting, you could fast. You could do that 2 days a week, 2 out of 5. You could just do it in the daytime, you know. I'd say it's a preference for you. You could skip a meal. One time for Lent, I lived on £1 a day for a week and slept on the floor in my bedroom, just to, you know, change in a sense my posture and understand. You know, it's not having a complete understanding of someone who's homeless or from a different country, but it changed my posture from a nice, comfortable bed, you know, and understanding my hips were getting sore and the lack of variety of food, you know, was a drag, and so it kind of, I took that to remember. So that's something also you could do. Just ideas. Bob Mac, well, the Easter eggs are already in the shops, I believe. Yep, I confirm that. Or perhaps they would be called Easter eggs now, but holiday eggs or some such. Yeah, they were. I wonder what name, like Happy Holidays, isn't it? Yeah. My daughter asked today, after the message church, she said, "Oh, can we have Christmas twice a year?" I said, "Will we have Easter?" And Easter's much more important. She's like, "But it's not. It's not important." I said, "It is really important." She's thinking about presents, but she is 10. Lester, Dan, I am much more southern than you. I was born in Calcutta, and my family emigrated here in 1960 when I was 8. And the third winter was 62 to 63, which could have been, I'm guessing, very cold. Yeah. So my wife's from Colombia. It took her years to really get used to the weather here, especially the cold. And one of the fun things that I like speaking to the people who are foreign, because you have to be here to experience it, is the wind that goes into your bones. And people are like, what do you mean? Like, and it's like you really have to experience it. Like wind it just goes into your bones. And then people come, and I remember my wife first experiencing it. She's like, "What is this?" And it's like, yeah, that's what you can't explain it until you experience it. But she took a while, absolute while to get used to the cold here. So yeah, Philip, 400 to 2, 400 to 2. Oh wow, and the services. 4 p.m. and 6 p.m. Christmas Eve carol services, and 8 a.m. 15 souls, 10:30 50 souls. Life is back to normal very quickly. Yeah, that's what. That's the test. This is the test. So I said to our church today, now for all those people that we had conversations with at the door, we handed out tracts. People saying, "Oh, I'm really challenged by that." Absolutely fine, you know, and all those people say, "Lovely service," absolutely fine. But I want you to come back in January. That's the big thing. So I said to our church, we need to pray. Now we need to pray for those. We've got to be aware that the devil will stop them coming to church. Things will get in the way. Life will get back to normal. People would be very moved in the service, and and the devil would take them away, get back to normal. You don't need to go to church. And so we really do have to pray for those people. And I think that's part of the responsibility for the church. And so I'm saying, and thinking already for next Advent and Christmas is, well, we have been praying for our services. We spent time praying for our services in the run up to Advent and Christmas. But this year, I will add to pray for those people for protection. We prayed for them to come to the services, but we didn't pray for that after. We didn't pray for January. And I think actually January is the key. So we'll do that. Leicester Halslam. For a Roman Catholic wasn't that crowded. Midnight Mass for Roman Catholic wasn't that crowded, but I think people were probably going to the daytime masses. The day, because it's so cold in our church, I think it's the lowest attendance since I started here nearly 4 years ago, because it was bitterly cold. It was so bitterly cold, and people stayed at home. And weather, was it raining? Did it start raining on Christmas Eve? I think it might have. I think it might have started raining. on Christmas Eve. But it's so great to see so many people there. It was really great. Finish up a Lent study for me this year, a day study of the 39 articles. Yep, that's another way. Study, get a book, or get something to listen to. Or my Fulfilling Life daily devotional during Lent. 4 to 5 minutes, just a little podcast or a video with my little pretty face speaking to you. If you haven't got enough of it, you could get that. I've just done Advent and Christmas, and now I'm not really speaking about it on the 12 days on the Fulfilling Life podcast, but I'm doing the 12 days of Christmas as well, and I recorded tomorrow today, and then we got Epiphany on Tuesday, and then we're just going to a normal run before Advent, so you could do that as well. Epiphany, Michael, Epiphany on Tuesday, a worthy day of prayer. Yeah, exactly. I'm everything I'm talking about, it keeps coming up. So, Lee, Wisconsin, by the way, thoughts on Venezuela? Yeah, it's so much. I think it needs to settle down to understand fully what truly is going on. I think so my wife is from Colombia, and their president is very good friends with Maduro, and they got elections this year, which they believe were not going to be fair. I say were not going to be fair. I think they might be a bit fairer now, and that Colombia was heading the way of Venezuela, and we know Venezuelans, we know what life is truly like there, and people living there and the suffering, and you see the celebrations of all these people. It is truly freeing for them. We don't know what's going to happen, who's going to run the country and things like that. I did see, because me and my wife were speaking about the oil thing, because I watched the Trump press conference. It was all about oil. But then I saw this guy from Venezuela say, he's like, well, it's about the oil. So what? America's coming for the oil. Do you think Russia and China were coming to get the recipe for how to make arepas? Arepas are like this bread. Do you think they were here for the recipe? No, they were there for oil. So and we know it's all geopolitical and all these things going on. And what I would hope for is freedom for the people and the rightful money to be able to go to the people. It's one of the richest countries potentially in the world, and yet the people there's no food, the conditions are awful, because it's under communism or socialism, which we know doesn't work, and those people at the top got lots of money. I still can't get my head around that they went in and he's not the president by right because he stole the election, and everyone acknowledges that, but still in the name of, that's what he named himself, that the Americans went in and got him and arrested him. It's kind of crazy that like happened. That's what it's like. Wow. So I think, they elected last year a president who was elected rightly. Maduro didn't recognize that and stayed on, and that person had to go. And I think, in my mind, not much of a mind, but maybe that president should go back if they've been democratically elected to start help running the country. But they have to make the country safe and secure. At the moment, they've sworn in Maduro's vice president, so it's not over yet. And I think we have to see where it goes. But I know people are saying it's absolutely awful what's happened. But and I've been to Colombia a lot, and you've had the time I've been there. It's a lot of time to stay there, and you see what life is like, and you speak to people, and you hear the worry, and you hear so much about Venezuela and the amount of people that have left Venezuela and gone to Colombia for safety because they're just starve or die. Is we don't really see what is happening there truly. So it is good. It is quite astonishing as well. And I think a lot of prayer needs to happen for the right thing, for the poorest people. That's the thing. The people are so poor. And, it's not about money and making those companies rich and things like that. yeah, so we see what's happening in the next few days, weeks and months. Mr. Baker, I need to give it doomsday scrolling on YouTube. Man, the algorithms, they can get you. Like, I mean, like the algorithms, if you're looking at certain things, the algorithms, I have to fight the algorithms because I'm looking around at news and looking around people's different opinions and things like that and trying to understand what's going on and, you know, what the thoughts are out there. I can get onto some stuff that I just don't want to come on my feed. And so I'll delete stuff and try to get things because I don't want the algorithms just to feed me stuff. But hey ho. Silver Rocket Star, Lent. Well, that's the end of me annoying the local vicarage. Yeah, Lent is so soon. It's only like 6 weeks away or something. Matt Hillston, our church is pretty happy clappy with a very supportive bishop. So God willing, they haven't just looked at our nice vicarage. I'll have to have a look, see what it is. Interesting. It's always good to have a look at people's parish profiles and see what's going on the parish profiles, and what places are like. You know, so I got taught this, the killer question, right? It's because you get asked in the interview, and are there any questions that you got for us? And we got taught this, and I think it's brilliant. And I tell everybody to ask this question. And it's asking this group, because you can have like sometimes 6 people or 9 people interviewing you, and you know you're the only one. It's quite, you know, full on. And so you turn around and you go, what's the one thing in the parish profile? No, what's the one thing that isn't in the parish profile that I'll find out about in 6 months' time? And, you know, because everyone hides. Everyone, oh, we're so wonderful, we're so brilliant. And you're saying, what have you kept out here? Which I'm going to pull back the rug and I'm going to find it under there. What is it? Tell me now. And I remember, you know, in some, I won't say where, I remember being told nothing. There's nothing. We're perfect. Yeah. You know, we know no one's perfect. I'm not perfect. You know, how can you say that without saying, without, you know, we're all not perfect. We all got our faults. So, but that's a good question. Maybe I'll find out the 5 people and ask the question at your interview. Not that you can find out. It's good that you got supported bishop, but that's the thing. So, did I release that video? Yeah, the one on Friday. Was that about? Sorry, I recorded a load of videos when I was on holiday. Well, at home to get ahead of myself. So some are released and some aren't released, ready to be released. But I think in the video on Friday we talk about that report about Anglicans leaving for Rome, but actually it isn't. Some might be, but it's not like a mass exodus because conditions aren't right. And one of them was people moving parishes. Instead of going to Rome, they will move parishes, and so they'll move that. You know, if the parish isn't right, they'll move to a place that is, you know, has got a good bishop and is welcoming, and you know, it's tough as a vicar, and sometimes you just want to go and be loved and supported, so that can be a factor as well. Richard, for Lent, I suggest actual fasting once a week on a Friday is good. Fasting, a crucial spiritual discipline that brings you closer to God. As you say, there are different patterns. Build it up. Absolutely. But Fish Friday, come on. Oh, fish. How can you give up fish on Friday? It's such a Christian thing. All the fish would be happy. But Matt, I gave it chocolate one Lent. It is hard for me as a chocoholic. However, by the end of 6 weeks, I really didn't want at least any on Easter Sunday. That's the thing. I think, you know, give it those things that you hide, but also give it those things which will stretch you. Because the whole thing is, when you're really tempted, you want to be tempted during Easter. You don't want to do something, you know, like I'm giving up sprouts, you know, and you never ate a sprout in your life. You want to do something that is tempting because you want to go at that point where it's like week 2 or 3. Oh, Lord, help me. You know, I can't do this. I'm going to break this. And that's where, you know, God steps in and takes that temptation away, perhaps for that day or that minute, and helps you. And then you go, oh, you are there. You do hear. You do. Lent's. You have to push yourself during Lent. It's not supposed to be easy. So, yeah, and same with the fasting. It's a good, crucial, well, as you say, crucial spiritual discipline. Richard, Everton have been on a fast from defending today. I got my phone connected to my camera, so I can't get at the schools. I haven't looked at the school. We're on the American football at the moment because 4 goals against you. And Man City drew to Chelsea. Ooh. Chelsea scored in the 94th minute. That means tables. Aston Villa on the same. I'm an Aston Villa fan. Our goal difference is awful. Mind you, Liverpool is actually 4 goals difference for Liverpool. Wow. So we are still third, but we're pulling away, except for Arsenal beat us the other day. But we won't say anything about that. So I baptized a baby of this guy. He's a guy called Rory Jennings. He's on YouTube. He's got a few 100,000 followers. He's a Chelsea fan. And we spoke about, because we played them on not Boxing Day, on the day after Boxing Day. We played Chelsea and we beat them. And I saw him pop up on my... No, I didn't see him pop up, actually. I searched it on the YouTube to see what he's saying. He was fuming. And then after, it kept popping up with Rory Jennings all the time. I get notifications of Rory Jennings, and I'm like, no. I don't want Rory Jennings coming up on my phone. Not that I don't like him. I could go and knock on his door. So... He's got a lovely studio. I saw his studio. He's got a proper, really nice studio. But that's what happens when you get hundreds of thousands of followers. So, what to do? Yeah, Everton. Fasting. JKK, do you have any thoughts on the eternal wall of answered prayer, Dan? I think it's a pretty dodgy, personally, and a huge waste of money, which could have been better spent. I don't know if I have any thoughts. I saw it years ago in the early stages, and I thought it was absolutely amazing. I think from the story that I've heard, and the land that was given, the location and things like that, it is going to be a real monument for prayer, because so many people are going to be driving past it every day. As for the money thing, I think like that. Well, yeah, that can always. There's that argument for always using money for different things, but I think God will use it, and hopefully many people go there and stop and see that the prayer was answered. I think it's a good thing. I'm interested why you say it's dodgy. I never heard anything like that. I think I take the thing about money. That's always the argument. It can be better spent in different ways, but I think it can be and will be such a testament. As long as people go there, not just drive past it. It's that Christmas thing, isn't it? It's like, if you drive past it and see it, well, that's great. You get used to it. But there's, and it becomes familiarity. But you want them to stop and go into it. And that's where the change makes. Still Rockstar, I think we need a more proactive missionary outreach to areas not represented. Who would you get the bishops of the bottoms to do this? Or how would you get the bishop of the bottoms to do this? Well, the thing is, the whole of the Church of England covers every inch of the land. So, it's not really about the bishops, it's about the local vicars, really. We cover those areas. There is a representation. Now, this is where it falls down, because if they're not preaching the gospel, or they're preaching something alternative to the gospel and not holding up biblical orthodoxy, then that whole parish or benefice is not being covered by the gospel. But it should be, because what we do in our own parishes or benefices, that's what we decide. Another vicar came He's off today, and he came to my service this morning. And he said, you know, I see how you lead the church. What he said to me, yeah, Dan, what's really nice, I see how you're leading the church here, like in the service, and you know, and what you're talking about, and that's really good. And so I would say it's, you know, we are in a place in some areas with the bishops. It's down to local vicars. You know, that's where the accountability should be. Are they getting out, especially to those areas that are not represented? You don't see the bishops now. The bishops have become different from many years ago, when they used to go around from parish to parish, mainly raising money, staying over, lots of people coming into the church because of the bishops. You don't get, bishops don't, that's not their role anymore. It's completely different from that. I wouldn't be able to know what the bishops were doing on a weekly basis. I don't know. I know the Bishop of Oswestry publishes what they're doing every week and where they are and what they're up to. I don't know if every bishop does that for accountability. I'm not sure, but I would say local vicars are accountable for that. Richard, a lad I knew used to give up smoking every Lent. When it's pointed out to him yesterday he didn't smoke anyway, he said that's how he knew it. He'd stick to it. I've used it as a sermon illustration. Yes. John Clark, Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you. Mr. Baker, in the Catholic Church, they have a holy day of obligation on Tuesday for Epiphany. As I'm back at work, that will mean 7 p.m. I think. A holy, okay, I kind of get that, a holy day of obligation. Is that where you say for the rest of the year I'm going to stick to doing something, or I'm taking it as that? I left my nativity scene up after the rest of the decorations have gone. The Magi are set already at mine. Well, in some churches, in the Anglo-Catholic churches, they leave it up till Candlemas, whenever Candlemas is this year, end of January, beginning of February. They'll leave that up. We won't, but we do recognise Candlemas in our church. Han, grateful Rev Dan's online spiritual encouragement. It means a lot, and thank you. It's more you guys supporting me and in my ministry. It means a lot to me, because without you guys, well, there'll be no one to make videos for. And going on as before, I wish, honestly, I do. I wish I'd never had to do this. I wish the church was just doing what the church was called to do, and you wouldn't know Rev Dan. There would be no need for Rev Dan. Rev Dan would just be the vicar or the rector of Chalfont St Giles, Sear Green and Jordan's, because that's my benefice. And no one would know me because I'm in such a small place, and that would mean the church would be doing what the church is doing. But your encouragement means a lot. It means a lot, because it can get tough sometimes. Matt Wilsden, St James Devices, Wiltshire. I'll have a look at that. Nice website. Oh, you got online services. Phone number's changed. I'll leave that up to have a look around. We went somewhere yesterday. We went to Henley-on-Thames, and it's freezing. Got out of the car. Oh, it's so cold. Down by the river, the wind slightly blowing. And because you're looking around, there's a church. And my daughter goes, "Can we go to the church?" to get warm. And I was like, "Oh, man, go in the church. I'm on holiday." We went in the church. It's always nice to look around someone else's church. I walked in and was like, "Oh, it looks a bit messy." And they was just reordering and getting things tidied. And looking around what other people have to work with and things like that. Churches are interesting with their history. Silver Rockstar, and 6 months later he found out what was not in the parish profile. Hello, my runaway again. Well, yeah, going back to that 6 months, you do, but it holds. You know, the thing with asking that question, what's in the what's in the parish, what's not in the parish profile, which I'll find out in 6 months. It holds them accountable, because that parish profile, it stays with you. It becomes like your job spec. So when you have your annual meetings, we call them MDR, Ministry Development Review. The parish profile is part of that. So, but you can also go back to the parish, and vicars don't do this, and they should, and go, this is what you gave me. This is basically what you sold this place for me. And I found out about this, and it wasn't in. And I asked it in my interview. So now we have to deal with it. And I think we need to understand and be able to use it as a tool to sort out some of these problems. Because it's like, it's not in here. I asked, and now I found out about this. And one vicar I know of found out that there was literally hardly any money in the bank in the bank account. And that was not in the parish profile. Major, completely changed the ministry there. So yeah, Sunshine Lady, Rev Dan, do you think we are in the before it gets better, it gets worse phase? How should we prepare to bring forth God's will? Pray, fast, and almsgiving. Any other spiritual discipline? I don't know where we are because we can all read different things into the world, and at different times we would see it the same, in 1845, in 1633, in 1211, or whatever it might be. We could say at that time, Jesus coming back soon. And we just don't know. And we don't know, will it get better? I think there is a massive thing of just being obedient. I think that's a massive word, being obedient to God's calling on our life and to those spiritual disciplines. Is there another one? I think what you're saying, yeah, praying and fasting and almsgiving, using the gifts. I'm big on for the gifts and talents God's given you to engage with people, to help people, to spread the gospel. We are warned about that, about using the talents. And discipleship. I think, when I think about all the things in the Church of England or the church in different denominations, when you speak to people, a lot can come back to weak discipleship, and these spiritual practices and reading the Bible or doing daily devotional or whatever it might be, not slowly slipping away from God's word, get that kind of over familiarity into our lives. I know this story, I know this, but actually be challenged by it every day. And I think discipleship is huge, both personally and as church, and as a church discipline. And I think with that, there is a obedience. So whether we're in the end times or not, whether Jesus come back tomorrow or in a million years' time, we just don't know. But we live our lives like that's the whole part. Well, not the whole part, but part of Advent, isn't it? It's that preparation, watching and waiting. We just don't know. Are you ready? Is he going to catch you out when he comes? What are you doing? And I think you don't, maybe a bad analogy, but not off the top of my head. But if you're driving on the motorway and the speed limit's 70 miles an hour and you're driving at 70 miles an hour, you don't need to look at speed cameras. You just carry on doing what you're doing. You got no stress, just you're doing what you're doing. But if you're going at 80 or 85 miles an hour, you're always looking on those bridges for speed cameras and things like that. And you're always watching and aware, because you're not doing something, you're doing something that you shouldn't be doing. And so you're always on edge. You might get somewhere slightly quicker. What I'm saying is, like, if you're doing what you're doing, going at 70, you got nothing to worry about. If you're not doing what you've been asked to do in our Christian life, like go help people, preach the gospel and all these things, serve God, using our gifts and talents, then we got something to worry about. So I would say get a posture of every day just honouring and serving him, which can feel hard. It's easy for me because I'm a vicar. It's kind of my job. But that's the challenge. Doesn't make it easy. It's also the challenge for you guys. Lee Wisconsin, the Episcopal Church 27 general General Convention is in Phoenix, Arizona, for your information. The Episcopal. Okay, cool. I know a guy from Phoenix, Arizona, Lovekin. He's an artist. So my little jingle at the end of my video now, because obviously I shortened it at the beginning. He wrote that. He's a musician. So, and Phoenix, Arizona is hot. As an Arsenal fan, I'm happy, John Clark. Yes. Well, we pray for. So, yeah, when it gets to football, tribal. Yeah, well, I hope you don't win the Premiership. I don't think Villa will win the Premiership. But maybe you do. You know, we don't want Man City to win it again. We don't want Liverpool to win it again. Chelsea can't win it. I don't know if Villa have got the legs or the depth of team to do it. I think our manager is doing an incredible job with the amount of money. So maybe Arsenal got a good chance this year. Richard, we still got our Christmas decorations up till tomorrow. We've got a husband and wife a couple coming tomorrow, so we'll have a 12th night last hurrah before the Epiphany. Yeah, I think my day off tomorrow, and I'm back to work full on Tuesday, so I think my decorations are going to come down tomorrow and everything put in the loft. That's the hassle, is putting it up in the loft, getting up the ladder, and the loft will be freezing tomorrow. Francis, eternal word prayer, answer prayer, will be seen by thousands of motorists daily on the M6 and M42 motorways, but it doesn't make much of a point. No, that's the thing, isn't it? It'd be seen by thousands, but it has to get people in, and that's the thing. If people go in and start seeing how prayers are answered and getting their little phones and doing the QR code or however they do it, that'd be the bit that changes people. But driving past, yeah, they drive past churches all the time, don't they? Michael, we had Bishop Salmon from Stockport visit our village church in Weaverham. What an amazing man! Oh, I don't know him. Oh, that's cool. It's good to know that there are bishops. I think, you know, as much as, so for example, when I saw the newspaper reports about the Church of England going against the Tommy Robinson concert and all those things and wading in on that, it's like, oh, you're making the job so much harder. You know, it's just bad press. And I said that in my video about it. And I think, like, as a bishop, a good bishop, they must get like, oh, the House of Bishops or the College of Bishops, it's always negative. And there will be good bishops out there. So it's good to hear that there are good bishops out there, just doing their jobs, like that. Mr. Baker, Holy Day of Obligation is a non-Sunday mass. Everyone expected to attend. There aren't too many. Oh, really? Ah, wow. I never heard of that. Nick Theole, I think, Thole, or just Nick. I always butcher names. Sorry. Happy Epiphany, Dan. I've heard from many members of the Ordinariate that they were able to be more authentically Anglican after joining the Ordinariate Catholic Church. Thoughts on this? I guess for those, it's hard to say. I guess it might feel more freeing, like joining the Ordinariate, and I think in the video I said on Friday that, you know, you're feeling welcome home and you're given that space and who to be who you are. And the people who go to the Ordinariate, who would be in the more Anglo-Catholic side of the church rather than the evangelical, they are being freed from the things that they disagree with, like the ordination of women priests and things like that. So it would make them feel more authentically Anglican. They do have the society in the Church of England, the Society of Martha and Mary. But, you know, as I was discussing with a good Anglo-Catholic friend last year, with the Archbishop, the appointment of the Archbishop of Canterbury being a woman, I think they have to jump through kind of hoops to justify what they believe about the office of an Anglo-Catholic bishop. the office of a woman bishop or archbishop, and the legal office, as it were, and the fact that they're ordained as well. So I'm an evangelical, so it's a bit hard to understand that. That would be my thought. So I guess it would feel more freeing going to somewhere that fully aligns with who you are. Yeah. Oh, Candlemas is always the 2nd of February. Yes. You see, that's an evangelical. But I am learning. At least I know there's Candlemas. You know, it's always the 2nd of February. TP, I prefer to call them holy days of opportunity. They sound that's I like that. Holy days of opportunity. Every day is a holy day and opportunity. TP, Bishop Sam is the hero next door. Yeah. I think there'd be some really good bishops out there. I think there's some really good people out there who will never be bishops. Just because I think it's quite politicized. Always has been. I don't truly believe it's all about calling. In some cases it will be, but I think in some cases it's just political. And so, and when it is like that, someone always has to lose out. Lester, Dan, the Roman Catholic Church, a holy day of obligation means one has to attend Mass that day. Wow. That is, wow. John Clark, thanks for reminding about that Catholic Day Church of obligation. So it doesn't work that well. That's Silver Rockstar. Happy New Year, and your mission here is a blessing. It gives us time to hold on to reflection and understanding. So your presence here is a blessing to be blessed by the presence of the Holy Spirit. Thank you. That's very kind words. You know, I just want to honor God and the calling He's placed on my life. Can you do me a favor, actually, when I say that? I don't think He's here, but I always get, if you are here, excuse me, but hit that like button. And I'll tell you why. It just does help. As much as people say, it helps the channel. It does help the channel. It does help the algorithm. And we are fighting over algorithm. It's getting out there to be more seen. So hit that like button. I remember that because as I was reading before, I saw a little heart go up as well. A little heart go up. Han, pardon to ask, Rev Dan, but in your personal opinion, recommendation, how many times a week as a church should Christians gather together, be it simply prayer and fellowship, to be more complex meetings? Oh, well, the thing is, they should meet. I would say that they should meet as often as they should, like at least daily. So you look at the Catholics or Anglo-Catholics in the Catholics or Anglo-Catholics in the Church of England, they'll have Mass daily. They'll say morning prayer. The vicar will get a day off, and usually that won't happen. But if there is another vicar there, it will happen. They'll have it 7 days a week where people have got the opportunity to go. But I know my friend will sit there and do it by himself if there's no one there. And so that gives so churchmanship does give the opportunity to meet. I think now, so it depends on context and how many people you got in your church. I could think through my week and end up meeting different people for different things on a daily basis. Some weeks doing different things. Some of them are, quite practical and not spiritual. And so would I consider that as just dealing with the business of the church, as it were, which I guess is the complex meetings. But what I think is important is prayer massively. In our church, we start, just me and another guy, so we need to start a prayer meeting at least once a month to get prayer really established. And now we're meeting every 2 weeks with another couple of guys, and we want to take it every week because it needs to underpin all that we're doing. But if you haven't got a big church where you can get people together, then I would say at least once a week, but outside of your Sunday services. But if you've got a bigger church, I think it's important to gather. So I'm just thinking through as I'm speaking as well. Together more often. But so when I was just thinking that we're very lucky as a small church. We have 6 or 7 home groups that meet weekly. So that happens. So across the week we have people meeting. So I think context really dictates. So it's a bit harder to answer, but context is important there, Han. But I'd expect bigger churches could do more. JKK, building on what you said about spiritual disciplines, do you think obedience comes through faith or faith through obedience or a bit of both? Or is this a false way of thinking in the first place? I think a bit of both. I think there's, you read the Bible, you start to understand your faith. I mean, when you come to faith, and you can see about obedience. But as your faith grows, say for the Holy Spirit working in our lives from the inside out, that brings obedience as well. So the faith grows and obedience grows, but also through what we do and decisions that we make. I will start praying every day. I will start reading the Bible every day. That's obedience. That's a decision we make. But also obedience can come through conviction. So I would say both. Legal Constant. The convention is from July 3rd to July the 8th. It's for 6 days. Okay. And it will be held in Phoenix Convention Center. Is that... what year was that? 2027. Yeah. I'm on sabbatical this year. So I got my trip coming up. Got my son's A-levels results coming up. My son going to uni in September, which will be incredibly sad. My daughter started secondary school. I got a significant birthday with a 0 on the end, which so is not great. I didn't do well with my last 0. And everyone's going, oh, why? It's only a number. And I wasn't expecting it. I was like, just walking up, getting to that date, thinking it's all going to be okay. I don't mind. And then in my mind, I was like, I hate this. So I'm really not looking forward to this one. I think, but I might be fine with it. By the time I get there, I might be absolutely fine. So in a way, it's a big year this year. Yeah. Do you have my email? My Rev Dan at BTR Ministries. If not, I'll write it in the chat. The last time I went to do that, I had a power cut. Remember? It was a few weeks ago. Oh, I hate to have a power cut now. Oh man, the house would be freezing. That'd be a nightmare. You'd have to go in the living room with the fire, the actual, real fire that doesn't work properly. So, John Clark, I'm concerned about the home office considering cohabitation as a key indicator of a genuine relationship is discriminatory against faith that forbid cohabiting before marriage. Okay. What's this? What's that about? I'm just trying to look in the news. Let's get this in my head. I'm concerned that the Home Office, considering cohabitation as a key indicator of a genuine relationship, is discriminatory against faith that forbid cohabitation before marriage. Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, that would be a concern. And it would absolutely do that. But a video is coming out tomorrow, slightly not on that topic, but also slightly on that topic, about the decline of Church of England marriages in 2023, 24, was it? And how they've gone down. And I think we have to really help people, and this is the answer to this question in a way, what marriage in the Church of England is, and that covenantal relationship, and those things. It's not just marriage. It's a covenantal relationship before God, and I don't think many people understand that, because part of it is the video is based around the Bishop of Manchester saying, oh, anyone can come get married in the Church of England, and it's like, no, this is something holy, and we need to help people understand. I think we need to get back to a weirdness. People talk about this weirdness of Christianity, that we're called to be countercultural and live in the world but not of the world, and we are different, and all those things, and the way that we live is differently, but we don't speak about it. So, and I spoke about this before, people will not see a difference between a civil marriage and a church marriage, and there's a huge, legally they're the same, but there is a difference as well, and I'm sure that atheists hope there's a massive difference. And so taking that, into account as well with this cohabitation, is if people don't know that there's a distinction in Christian marriage, and especially in government and things like that, and in the Home Office, they won't see any religious aspect. But we're not doing a good job, as it were, in saying that there is, come to church to get married, but first you must know God in your lives, and it's about covenant. There's things about talking about how Christian marriage with God in there, we should fight for our marriage, and divorce rates should be lower. We don't just walk away. There's so much, and I think we need to get that out. So, but I don't think we do that well. And so in a way, when things like happen like that, like you're saying, I don't think they even consider stuff about marriage or religious marriage, because they just don't know. They don't even think that. They might just think, well, they would think it's the same. Maybe I'm wrong, but on that. But I think we need to be more vocal about what we believe in the church and what this is. And I don't think people should just come to the church to have their wedding. I think they should come to the church knowing what they what the Christian marriage is. I had a couple who came to see me, and I spoke about what Christian marriage was, and he was an atheist, and they turned around and said, respectfully, we just don't want to get married in your church, because we feel that that's not right, because we don't believe what you believe. And I respect them for that decision, because at least they made the decision and they went and got married somewhere else. But that's because I had the conversation, not in a horrible way or anything like that. I just explained what we believed, and they went off and thought about it. And we need, I think, to do that more. Mr. Baker, obviously we have daily masses available every week in our parish, but the times seem to cater for the retired parishioners, as they're usually mid-morning. Yeah, that's a point. Let's go back to Hans' thing. They are in the mornings. And Miss Baker said, yeah. How do you think it's discriminatory? Thank you, Light Sunshine Lady. Matt Hilston, our bishop is quite evangelical, and his wife leads our prayer team Sundays. Does your bishop go to your church? Does he attend the local church? Han, okay, thanks for the reply, Rev Dan. Helps in spiritual encouragement. Personally, if I go to church regularly, daily in a week, would be more than happy, personally wise. Yeah, and I did that. It's over a lifetime though, Han. I remember when I was first Christian and on fire, I wanted to go all the time. How do you sustain that? It's a marathon, not a sprint. Mr. Baker, make me a channel thy peace. Is that what's that? I lose the context. Sorry about that. Nicole, holy days of obligation for the church in the US are the 1st of Jan. Solemnity of Mary. Sorry, Mary. 14th May, the Ascension. Okay. August 15th, Assumption of Mary. Yep. November the 1st, All Saints. 8th December, Immaculate Conception and Christmas. Oh, okay. So those are the days you have to go. But then the Church of England would say to the parishioners years ago that you had to go every Sunday. Silver Rock Star. I wish in my church they could just once or twice a month hold an Anglican Anglo-Catholic mass service. They could. They just don't. They just don't. TB, here in England and Wales, it's Epiphany, not January 1st, and St. Peter and St. Paul in June. Oh, is that the days of obligation? Richard Hinley, the Wesleyan Covenant prayer is powerful. One of the three greatest prayers in English, along with the general confession in the morning and evening prayer, and the humble access prayer in communion. Now, do I know that? I think I probably do. I have to remind myself. I'm not Methodist, see. Oh, yeah, I know that. Yeah, that's a good prayer. Yeah, I like that prayer. I found that years ago. I printed that out and put it on my wall when I was in my curacy. Nicole, my name is pronounced it doesn't help me even further because I'm so awful. It's one of the things that God didn't give me is how to pronounce names. Rhyming with pole or soul. It's very German. Thol. Nick Thol. Okay. I hope I got that right. Miss Baker, our nativity scene should stay up until Candlemas. TP, I'm 30. Yes. And when I got to 20, I freaked out. Yeah, I wish I was 30. In fact, I was in church, and one of the younger girls there said, how old are you? And I told her, and she went, oh, you look good. Wow, I thought you were a lot younger than that. But mind you, she was about 8 or 9 herself. But I'm going to take it as a win. I'll take it as a win. She got no age judgment, but let's take it as a win. Galvatron, you're a Villa fan. Where is your church then? My church is Chatham St Giles in Buckinghamshire. If you heard this before, then sorry. But the reason I'm a Villa fan is because my great-grandfather played for Aston Villa well over 100 years ago. And he won the FA Cup twice. He won it in 1930, and then he went off to war, got shot in the hand, came back, resumed his career with Villa, and won the FA Cup again. And so, yeah, that was all the way through. We are not allowed not to be Villa fans. We have to be Villa fans. It's just in the blood now. And so... and for those who know, I sung 10 years ago this year. I sung Abide With Me at Wembley, representing Aston Villa in what they call the fans choir, which was a unique and amazing experience. It was very cool. We did it with Alfie Bow. Yeah, we lost 4-0 to Arsenal, but that's by the by. So, I'm surprised we got to the final because we were awful that season, but we beat Liverpool 2-1 in the semi-final, so it was quite a unique experience. So thank my granddad for that. John Clark, Mr. Baker. It's about the cohabiting. It's related to immigration and how the Home Office has rules regarding what determines if a relationship is genuine or not. They put heavy emphasis on cohabiting. But, as much as... Oh, there's something wrong with my collar. As much as those things annoy... I got a hole in my collar. I did that once. I took my collar off at an assembly, and the young kid said, fake! Like, what do you mean, fake? And I had it upside down as well. I've chipped my collar. That's what I've done. You can feel little ridges. Is turn it the other way and going, okay, this is what the world will say, of course, and go down that way. But how do we, as Christians, respond? How can we use this to speak about a better way? And so we go past the frustration and those emotions and go, okay, right, let's use this to enable conversations. So, Lester, Dan, so glad you said power cut and not power outage. Yeah, who would say power outage? No, it's a power cut. The power was cut. It was cut. It's so sudden as well. You're just like, everything just goes boom. I suppose it's more like when I was a kid, there wasn't much to go off, but now it's quite dramatic. But I said the week after that, I went outside and took a couple of photos. It was so dark. It was so dark. It was crazy. You don't get to see that. You kind of miss those little things. Mr. Baker, for years, though, many got married in the established churches, Anglican, Catholic, just out of tradition. Exactly. They did. And I think it's down to the local vicar to talk about what this is. And I lay it on. I'm not horrible with it, but I'm not going to let people come to get married without them fully knowing exactly who's marrying them. It's not like me. It's not me who does. I say words. It's God who joins them together. What God has put together, let no one put asunder. It's not what Rev Dan has put together. I have no authority or power in, joining them together. They come in as two and they leave as one. God's entwined them together in that mystical and holy way. And so let's not take this lightly. So, you can understand why marriage is a covenant in the Catholic Church. Now, it's not a covenant in the Church of England or the Anglican Church, but it's important. And the same with baptism. We need to speak to people. We can't just let people do it willy-nilly. They're entering into something that's so hugely important. And again, remember, it's a representation also of Jesus with his bride, the church. And so we need to talk about that and why it's important. One thing that I really like in the marriage preface is it talks about marriage. A lot of people think about marriage about them, but there's just, I think it's a single sentence that talks about marriage being for the benefit of the community in that way. And marriage is beyond us. It is a benefit for those around us and for where we live. And I think that's hugely important to understand. And from a Christian point of view, that's hugely important to understand what we're putting that out as well. So I always say with marriages that they should really, and again in the preface, it says it shouldn't be taken lightly, but seriously and with reverence after a lot of thought and weighing this up. And I think we have to get people to do that. Where am I? John Clark, I always say I'm 21 with 32 years of experience. Yeah. Richard, you missed out my comment about Wesleyan Covenant prayer twice. I included a link. Will that have hidden it? The Wesleyan tradition, do it on the first Sunday. I got it still highlighted. I don't think I got anything on that says people can't post stuff. That might be YouTube. Might be something I have to look into. I did read about Wesleyan Covenant prayer, but I did Google it. You can Google it. Sorry about that. The Wesleyan first Sunday in January. That's a good time to have it. Han, thanks for the reply. Encouragement. Thanks for the reply. Encouragement Rev Dan. Strangely, in more recent times, perhaps due to the post-lockdowns, never felt more enthusiastic to go to church to fellowship within a week. Yeah, someone who came to our church for the message church talked about, the community, and having just moved here, one of the church is a great place to have community, to get to know people, to be welcomed, and it absolutely is. But it's also quite devastating when you're not welcomed well, like you're sitting in my seat. Like there's no one else around, and I managed to sit in the only seat that's going to be occupied by this person, and they don't like it and they're speaking to me in a way is like, that's not welcome. And you hear those stories. But yeah, people long for fellowship. And I think the church is a great place for that. Francis, yeah, YouTube doesn't like providing hyperlinks. Yeah, that's good to know. I'm not like that person who does that. Sunshine Lady, should the church ban divorce since it's a sin? No, there are exceptions for divorce that happen. Divorce is always sad. And I think we should talk about fighting for marriages. I think when marriages, when there's unfaithfulness, when there's beatings and those things and abuse, I think there's rights for divorce, and even mental as well, which is huge and more understood now. So I wouldn't say ban divorce. I think telling someone that they had to stay with an abusive husband who perhaps rapes, or vice versa, a wife that rapes her husband or beats her husband, is wrong in itself. Jesus and Paul himself gave us reasons to be able to get divorced. And so by saying that the church banned divorce, that would be going above Jesus's head. So Rockstar, my aunt always says she's forever 18. My mother says she's a recycled teenager. I like that. My aunt turned 70 the other day. Does anyone play who's died next? Oh, Mum would say, I didn't know that he died. Oh, that's harsh. I suppose when you get to 70 and get older, you can just be like that. And it's like my kids. They're so precious now, and you can't say certain things, and they're so offended. And it's like, this is not even offensive, but they're so. But I suppose, like, who's died next? Even I would go, what? But once you get to that age, that's probably what you do. That's probably what we'll end up doing. John Clark, I hope that you didn't mind me raising the marriage and immigration topic. No, absolutely. This is what this is absolutely for. It's quite interesting, actually, because you don't know about those things. And again, it's not just trying to figure out an answer. It's trying to figure out how to deal with these things that are happening. If governments and because those things snowball, don't they? Cohabiting becomes a new norm because the government said, look, it's so recognized, and it's like, yeah, but marriage is so important. Even if you don't believe in God, a secular marriage, how much does it show your children? And cohabiting isn't cohabiting. You feel like you can just walk out. So I think it's a thing that we wrestle with those things, the everyday things. I'm very much into. I see people. I said this before, like people like Mike Winger and things like that. I think they're amazing on the Bible and that teaching. And I think what I love and what my calling is these everyday issues and these social issues and some of the church issues and kind of wrestling with those things, like the Venezuelan question. You have your thoughts, and then you go, okay, so now as a Christian, what am I landing on? I can go through my thoughts, but how do we respond to this as a Christian in all this? And I think that's we got to wrestle with these things, and I like to wrestle with those topical things. Francis Pike, when talking about the Home Office, it's best to use initial capitals. Yeah, at first I thought the statements about the rectory having an office for the rector. Me too. It was. I did get. You saw my confusion there, but I worked it out. But yeah, on those, yeah, that's helpful. Mr. Baker, will 2026 see government cease pushing hyper individualism? Oh, we're talking about a Labour government which loves big government. And I would say, just off the top of my head, individualism helps in that, really, doesn't it? When you've got big government and lots of control, you don't want those groups. So I would say no. I would say, will you see the government cease pushing? No, I think they will. I think it, in my view, it would help them. But that's why we have communities and churches. That's why the church is so countercultural, because it's all against what the world is at the moment, isn't it? Lester, if you can stand the cold, there is another brilliant wolf moon tonight. Oh, we drove past the moon last night on the way back from Henley. It was amazing. Yeah, like huge. Yeah. But Matt, I had to get a divorce because ex-half was abusive. I stuck it for 5 years because I felt I shouldn't give it up. But it was clear it was escalating. I hate being divorced, but there we are. And I think that is the thing. I think you speak to people who are divorced. You don't get married to get divorced, if you know what I mean. When you are, and hopefully this is working because my screen is going out, so hopefully you can still hear me. But when you get married, you don't expect to get divorced, do you? You go in there thinking it'll be for the rest of your life, and I think that's part of the problem. Oh, I am here. I'm still here. Sorry, mine started to time out. So good. I'm not going to try re-edit that in the bit. So I get back to my thought. Yeah, you don't get you go to your marriage and it's such a special day. You don't think you're going to get divorced, but and you do want to stick it out. And sometimes, you want God to change, especially if you're a Christian, that your other person, your loved one's heart, and that's probably what some people hope for, and probably will stay in the marriage longer than they actually should. But God can do all things. But the abuse that they suffer as well is so complicated. I think that analogy, I can't remember where it comes from. That is it corrugated cardboard. When you put it together, when it's together, it's quite strong. But when you rip it apart, it rips really roughly, and it's not smooth. And that, I think there's a good analogy of when two people are joined together and they're ripped apart. It's never smooth, and the healing and the scarring will always be there. And it's difficult. I'm always aware. To talk about this video about marriage tomorrow, decline in the Church of England. There'll be people there who are widowed and divorced or single, and how do they hear what I'm saying? Because we got to deal with these issues, and it's not dismissing them, and it's holding them while talking about this. And people bring so many different experiences that they never wanted, and it is difficult, and how we respond as a church. And I think, is it the Catholic Church that said divorce was a sin? Was it? You shouldn't get divorced, but in certain circumstances, yeah. In other circumstances, you need to fight. I think there's so many marriages that end in divorce that shouldn't, because they needed to fight for the marriage. But we don't take marriage as seriously as we once did, I think. But that goes back to about teaching. Oh, Miss Baker, those Domino's pizza ads are annoying. Sorry about that. But you're supporting the channel. But the algorithm, your algorithm is pointing. That I can only assume that you're eating Domino's pizza all the time. John Clark, apologies for the confusion. No, oh yes, for the Home Office, no problem. We worked it out. Ads, I don't get pizza ones. Instead, they're trying to sell me expensive non-coated stick pans. Again, we know what you're looking at. I might just turn them off in the future, to be honest. I could only imagine they're annoying. There's other ways to make money for this. There's only to pay for the subscriptions and the You know, it's even the electricity with these lights. Oh my Lord, the lights get so hot. I can't imagine how much electricity these blue lights take, because when I pick them up, they're like, oh, they're boiling. But Matt, yep, never expected to get divorced, but that's why you go into denial rather than face it. Yeah. Mr. Baker, anyone visited Cirencester Church of John the Baptist? I was there yesterday and it looked awesome, but was shut for visitors, unfortunately. No, I haven't. Peter Woodward, but maybe somebody else has. Hi, Rev Dan. I heard you mention Henley. I go to a church there. Can I ask whereabouts the church you lead is? I think on the whole, my midnight mass sermon went well. Everyone looks sleepy already. Yeah. We miss those drunks coming in. You hear all those stories of the drunks coming in, and they're just not there anymore because the pubs are doing slightly different, or they got extended hours and stuff. There's no kicking out at 11. I'm in Peter. I'm in Chalfont St Giles, so 25 minutes away, I think it was. It's not far. Yeah, is not incredible amount. I went to the main church in the middle of Henley. It's quite dominating. It dominates it's really good. I really like it how they built it. Obviously, it's a whole church, but the whole of the high street, if that's what it's called, assume it's called the high street, is so wide that you just see the church all the time, and it's there in your face, and that's nice. My church, built years, like 800 years old, but then they built loads of shops in front of it and it got hidden. So all you can see is the tower, and that's basically our logo. And that logo is done before I got here. I don't know when it's done, but I like it. It's a bit tongue-in-cheek because that's all you can see of the church. Many people don't even know there's a church there. They're like, oh, the church is there. It's funny. It's funny. So I like that church is can be seen. Nick, fascinating to watch the church take a stand against the world. In college, the local bishop had a message read out at the end of mass in every parish against a bill for the legalization of marijuana. Yeah, I mean, like, we need that. That's what the bishops are there for, right? In a way, their platform is hugely a lot bigger than a lot of local vicars. Now, local vicars can speak to the local congregations, perhaps their parish will, if people listen. But local vicars can get on radios and TV, perhaps local news, because of their position. And I think that's where they should be speaking out. And I think that's what a lot of people get frustrated about, is because bishops are not speaking out, and the platforms that they have, and even the archbishops and the way they do is not resonating with where the church is, and that's a disconnect. But saying that, because my argument is to bring the power back to the local church where it once was for so many years, that we know our local church and local context. But for that to really work across the country, with these things that we're facing, like the assisted dying bill. Well, the assisted dying bill, actually, both Liberals and Conservatives agree that's wrong. But other things, there are things that we don't agree. So we can't get a coherent message out across churches and to parishes because people say, I just don't believe that. And that's where it falls down in the local church, being able to do this. It's such a mess. But it probably always has been, to be honest, hasn't it, really? If we looked at, again, history in the Church of England. Sunshine Lady, sadly, the Roman Catholic Church seems to encourage divorce by granting annulment prompting most Catholics to remarry. Oh, okay. Huh. But can't you only have annulment if you don't do the business? Isn't that right? Mr. Meg, I know you're saying to Francis there, if you buy the pans, I'll buy you your pizzas. It's easy enough to skip the ads. What is it? Is it just 5 seconds? That's good. Bruce Reed, our BCP contains lovely prayers by the congregation for support for the couple getting married. We rejoice as the family of God over marriage. We mourn as a family when divorce and separation occur. We mourn I see that. So I didn't mean to laugh in that way, but that's just an unfortunate word to come up there, isn't it? We mourn as a family when divorce and separation occur. Um, no, absolutely, and we should, hold those two, shouldn't we? Um, some things in life grieve God's heart, as well, and we need to say that it's not the way God intended things to be. Eden and things, or all that happened there. Leicester, lol, Ori Football says, Arriba las espuelas, to Mrs. Dan, lol. I will say, Arriba las espuelas. I will say to Mrs. Dan. I wouldn't even know what it says. A spiritual phrase often used as a cheer or battle cry, particularly related to equestrian sports like rodeo or dressage and sometimes cockfighting. I'll see if she knows. Oh, it's up Spurs. Is that something goes up? Oh, I see. The Spurs on the. Okay, I will try to remember to say to her. To be honest, by the time I finish the stream, she's usually in bed. John Clark, thanks for the stream. And if Arsenal can't win the Premier, I hope your team does. Yeah, I think that Arsenal will. But thanks anyway. We'll see. We'll see as we go through. John Woodward. Oh, I grew up in Little Chalfont, but now I live in South Oxfordshire. Might pop in on a Sunday morning when visiting family. And I absolutely do. Pop in and say hello. It's nice when people pop in. Every so often, someone will pop in. People don't. People pop in to see the service, which is good. I'm quite fortunate. I think people come to see the service and see the church, and it's a benefit me being there. But it's a beautiful church as well. So yeah, absolutely, do pop in one Sunday. Christos, the church, a mean gathering of God's people. Yeah, the church is a mean gathering of God's people. Silver Star. Little incentive for men to marry today due to a false claim. Family courts, along with loss of property, of jobs, and becoming weekend dads if you're lucky. There's sadly a lot of suicides. Yeah, my brothers have been through divorces. I've got two brothers that have been through divorces. And the whole thing with the battle with the kids and things like that is difficult. I've seen it take its toll as well. It's, yeah. But again, that's why outside of Christian marriage, it's one thing because I don't deal with that. But inside, that's why I do speak to couples honestly about this and about fighting for their marriage and helping them with tools and things like that for being able to speak with each other and speak through problems and things like that. It's always going to be difficult. Marriage is. And you're married to many different people in your lifetime. If you're married for 60 years, every time something happens, a big thing happens, it changes us partly. And we might lose part of ourselves. If a parent dies, no matter what age we are, it affects us. And so your loved one has to get used to that new person who might not have so much joy in their heart as they once did, and that's difficult in marriage. And it's trying to help people to understand these things. And that's the one good thing with the church as well. When it works well, it can help people open their eyes. I wish I knew that. I wish somebody told me that. Well, we can. Lee, Wisconsin. I keep going Le, Wisconsin. I suggested the idea because it's related to the Reconquista effort, maybe a collab for the sake of advocating for reforms in tech like AEOs or things like that. Yeah, send me an email. Do you have my email? Do you have my email? It might be in the description on this video. Nick, annulments are exceedingly rare in modern times. Sadly, many of my fellow Roman Catholics simply ignore the church teaching on marriage. It's very nice to see many young people making a stand for it. Ah, yeah. Oh, that reminds me. Someone texted me. I need to text them, but I met them in the pub. He's a Presbyterian, and he's married to the girl, and she's like 24 now. They got 3 kids, and they want to have more kids. And they're really strong on marriage, really big Christians and things like that. And it's saying that because I remember they just how they were, you know, in their speaking. It's quite refreshing in that sense. Being young and making a stand for marriage. Annulments usually need the approval of a bishop as well. Okay. And then Mr. Baker asks, I'm going to carry on that thread because it's interesting. Nick, what about cases where the bride or groom go through the wedding mass and then at the reception one gets cold feet and tells the spouse? Is that not grounds for annulment? Oof. Mr. Baker says, I've known such cases. I'm at the bottom of the chat. I'm waiting. But Crystal says, Christ said, my mother, my brother, my sister, and those who do not know my Father's works. Nick, you need to tell us. You need to tell us your thoughts. It moves from Rev Dan to Nick. Dan, do you speak Spanish? Since you said you're linguistically challenged. I speak yes and no. I do. I understand. I never spoke it. Really awful. Really awful. I know a lot. I understand a lot. My wife can't get away with saying stuff without me understanding it, but I just don't speak it. Because I got this memory thing where I can't remember. It's really difficult to learn and learn and learn. So if I was in Colombia, I would speak Spanish because I'd be doing it every day. But my problem is that because I don't retain information, which is weird, I will learn it and then in a week or two I'll forget it. So I would be constantly learning. So what I need to be is constantly immersed in that situation. It's crazy, you know. Ask me about sermons from over Christmas that I won't remember. I would have to go look them up to see what I said and things like that. You know, I remember certain things, but a lot of information is crazy. And I know it's a problem because my kids take the mickey out of me because they recognise it's like, oh, Dad's forgot. So Nick said, as far as I know, no. Oh, so about the reception. Oh, okay. Mr. Baker, so in that example, both must live chastely, in chastity. I'm going to say that. I can't say the word forevermore. Sunshine Lenny, if you don't use it, you lose it. Is that... smash the like button. That's it. Smash the like button. We'll end there because it's 10 to 10. And we've been going an hour and 15 minutes, which is great. And this is what it's all about. It's funny, a while ago, I'd say an hour ago, for some reason, we had loads of viewers, and all at the same time, they dropped off. And then we'd be sitting at our numbers. But it's about community, and this is what we're building here. So thank you for your engagement. And I really, it might come across sound like I'm just saying it, and I don't do that. And hopefully you know me now that I don't just say stuff like that. But I do appreciate it because I'm the one here speaking, and you're at home listening and engaging, and that's amazing for me, you know, because I don't know what you're doing. You could be painting your toenails, you could be cooking the dinner. I don't know what you're doing. You could just be sat here just watching the screen on every moment. I don't know, but I do appreciate it. I really do appreciate it because you're choosing to spend your Sunday nights to do this, and it is humbling for me, and it's honoring that you do that, and I hope it's honoring for you, and that you feel that in this community that is here, that it's giving something back for you, and that's why I do it. But Matt says that was fun and interesting. It is fun. Silver Rockstar, bless you. I'm dyslexic. It affects my short-term memory. I used a whiteboard to remember. So many blessings and sweet dreams. Yeah, crazy. So, but Matt, well, my cat's sitting on me, so I can't get up and leave. I'm gonna pray to God to get all the cats to sit on there, because cats just rule the house, don't they? On their owners. Get the cats to get onto Rev Dan live stream and force many people with a hand ready to slap your face. I've seen on those videos. Mr. Baker, I was practicing the piano while listening earlier. Oh, see, that's so many things. So many things. I can't get away with anything because I'm on camera. But you guys, you can do what you want. So anyway, for those who are seeing next week, thank you for joining me. I've got to press 2 buttons now. Oh, no, I don't. I've got to do this professionally. Don't forget. I'm going to press the outro button. The outro button's there so I can press the other buttons without like looking like awkward. So anyway, God bless. Thank you. Have a great week and I'll see you soon.